Hello and welcome back to That Haunted Podcast, episode 10.
Yep.
10, yeah. I'm a little sick today, or I feel sick. It could just be allergies, but my throat's a little itchy and my nose is stuffed, so if I sound like a nerd, please don't make fun of me. And today I'm joined by the beautiful, the lovely, the amazing Cooper James. Alex is here too.
Hello.
She's alright looking.
Funny. Hi. So, yeah, Shane and I are here. Shane's not actually, barely here right now. He's not feeling it.
Well, I feel sicky.
Yeah.
I got my tea. I'm drinking tea.
I was just about to say, he's got his, I don't know what kind of tea it is. That's supposed to help with
boiled
sore
water
throat.
and shungite shards. Shards of shungite, and they get the...
That should do the trick.
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm drinking. It tastes like ass, though.
I told you it did. It's supposed to help, but it tastes bad.
It tastes real bad.
So today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that has swept over the internet pretty quickly, actually. All of the sudden, you guys have probably heard about Netflix's movie, The Deliverance.
The number one movie on their app at the moment.
And like I said, yeah, it's taking over the internet. It is all over TikTok. It is all over Facebook. Everybody's watching it right now. And why is it breaking news all of a sudden? Because if you guys remember, a few years back, Zach Bagans released a film called Demon House.
Zach Bagans.
And now, if you guys know anything about that film, there was a woman named Latoya Ammons who had 3 children, who was having some pretty unexplainable occurrences happen in her home and with her family. And if you guys, and I'm gonna recommend everybody right now, go watch Demon House and then go watch The Deliverance.
As much as I'm not a fan of Zach Bagans anymore, Demon House is a pretty well done documentary, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's all I gotta say about that.
Very well done. Is it hard to believe Zach Bagans sometimes because of the over-dramatization? Yes. But when it comes down to interviewing and filming people, could those people be over-dramatizing? Possibly. But we'll leave it up to you guys to decide. Like we said, we think it was actually pretty well done. But I'm going to encourage everyone to go watch The Demon House and then go watch The Deliverance because... a lot of people were asking me on my TikTok live the one morning, Alex, do you think, they say it's based on a true story, how accurate is the movie to what really happened? So, of course, I had to do my digging, and I did. So I have some research here, a few pages, and I'm really just going to hit on the main things. But what I can say is they depict, of course, there's a little bit of the Hollywood or Netflix, if you will, flair to it. Because with scary movies, a lot of times there is going to be some kind of flair to it. They condense a lot of what was happening. And what I can say is they did follow, though, the storyline pretty well. So when we get right down to it, the producer, Lee Daniels, I believe, he was kind of iffy to even take the story. He wanted to take this story. He wanted to make it into a movie. He kind of avoided it because there were a lot of concerns with CPS involving child abuse. He didn't want to make another movie involving child abuse and all that, is what he was saying. Honestly, a lot of people really thought these kids were kind of... what they showed in the movie was true. They thought that these kids were acting out to appease their mom, who was going through something mentally ill. So they thought, because not only were the children being affected, but the mother was too. The mother and the daughter were both actually hearing voices telling them things and telling them to do things. And it was getting insane. But, of course, when... and here's the thing. Was she beating her children? Who's to say? But the thing is, if you watch Demon House, Rosa, Latoya's mother, very much says Latoya, these entities are going to make people think we are beating these kids. And they weren't going to school because of what was going on. So then, of course, when kids are not going to school for long enough, CPS does get involved. And they did. And the first caseworker in the true story that they had on the scene was Valerie Washington.
They made her seem like a bitch in the movie.
And she really was not at all. She actually was so terrified that she ended up quitting. She ended up quitting so much so, I mean, she moved out of that state. She jumped state. She was and had to get therapy for what she witnessed. Because she indeed does say on film that she witnessed that boy. They were trying to calm the kid down because he was already having these odd fits of talking in a different language, growling, cussing people out in a demonic tone. And the grandmother was holding onto his hand, and the mom was trying to grab, and the son is backing up because there's a doctor and the CPS worker, Miss Washington, in the room. And the boy slowly starts to walk up backwards on the wall and then flipped over the grandmother. Valerie Washington states that she and the doctor looked at each other and just walked out of the room.
That's healthcare in America for you people.
It was too hard for them to compromise, but they're...
Comprehend?
Comprehend. Comprehend, sorry. At one point, sorry, I'm thinking too many things at once. And here's the thing, too. There are reports that police officers witnessed things as well that they didn't believe in this stuff up until they saw these things. Police have recordings of going into this home and catching EVPs of people that were not there.
Which that is in Zach Bagans' documentary. Mm-hmm. Which, again, great documentary. I'm still here, by the way, guys.
Yep, he is still here, don't worry.
I'm just dying in the corner.
So, when you asked me, in my opinion, how much did the Deliverance follow the true story, it followed it pretty well. My dog just farted on me.
The microphone just picked that up.
The microphone had to have just picked up my dog farting on me. That is so disturbing, Cooper.
Man, this couch used to be white.
Oh my god. I'm scared. Okay. So yeah, when Lee Daniels, you know what, he kept thinking and thinking about the case. He didn't want to take it because of all of the accusations. He ends up taking it. And obviously there were some pretty good pieces of evidence that he couldn't really turn down once he took on wanting to make this a movie. At one point, in 2012, so, sorry, Latoya and the kids moved into this home in November of 2011, and then in about 2012, she's finally taking the kids to visit this doctor, Dr. Jeffrey, I can't pronounce it, Jeffrey O.
Let me try. Anyayikua. Aniiku? Aniyuku.
Aniyukwu. Dr. Jeffrey Aniyukwu says in his medical notes that at one point it seemed like they were having delusions that there was a ghost in their home. He was saying that people were delusional, but at one point he said that the experiences they were having were very bizarre. Now, what really threw the medical staff off, there were reports and people physically saw the youngest boy, that was 9, I think, he was lifted and thrown into a wall with nobody touching him. CPS reported that themselves, the DCS, and they ended up calling 911. And when they were asking what was happening, they really couldn't explain what was happening.
Like, we have motherfuckers
They
flying
were like,
for walls and shit.
We don't know. Something is just wrong. Like, something's very wrong, and we don't know. mind you, he's he's cussing out doctors and demonic voices and growling, and so, and I'm trying to look through my notes here. Valerie, the caseworker, before she had quit, she even said that the kid had like this weird grin on his face. Several people reported that, actually. The nurse who witnessed the kid walking backwards and flipping, she said there's no way he could have done that. He walked up the wall and flipped over her. The police later asked Valerie if he knew any type of acrobatics or if it was some kind of trick he knew how to perform, and she answered no. He glided back, because she said it wasn't walking. Valerie said it was more like gliding. It was more like he glided backward on the floor, wall, and then the ceiling.
Starts moonwalking in the room, up the wall.
So then it's still in April. It's still 2012. It hits the 20th. They're there for a hot minute. The hospital chaplain reaches out to Reverend Michael Maganot. That's how he actually got involved. The priest actually got involved. Now, in the movie, they showed the priest as female simply because the director said that they really haven't been showing a lot of... There are female exorcists. You're talking to one right now. And they're not shown a lot in the industry. They're actually kept quieted a lot in this industry, and that is true. You always see the exorcist as male. So he wanted to change that up because they don't show female exorcists often enough. So that's why it's depicted as a female. But the priest that came was Reverend Michael Maganot. And he had to perform multiple exorcisms. He was performing exorcisms on LaToya, the kids. And he also blessed their home and blessed the new home because the kids... CPS didn't know what to do. The kids were ultimately taken from LaToya, and they were granted back to her very shortly. There were some people that were not witness to this that were in CPS that were like, we have to take your kids, you're absolutely nuts, and until things are cleared up, you can't have your kids back. But check this out, they did report that she moved to a new home, had these exorcisms done, never spoke of anything paranormal happening in her home again, and the kids were fine, and they did return home with her.
It was a happy ending.
It is a happy ending.
Very happy ending to the movie.
And then that's actually when that all led up, the exorcisms and them being taken away. All of that was in a span because Zach Bagans ended up buying the property in 2016, I believe. LaToya would not go back there after all of this. She wouldn't talk. She actually refused to talk to Zach Bagans further because she was helping directors in Netflix, and because Zach had already been inside the house, she refused to talk to him. And then when her brother apparently agreed to talk to Zach Bagans during the documentary, she refused to let the brother back into the home they were staying at.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, they were terrified. And so this states that the priest tried to tell them that, oh, your home is haunted, but the demons are after your family specifically. Now, in the demon house, the reason why I may not fully agree with that is because Zach actually is at the home when someone stops by claiming to have lived there in the 90s. And she experienced some things. She remembers having dreams while she lived there that someone she loved was going to be shot and killed. And her brother was actually apparently shot in that basement. Now, I was trying to do some research of that myself. There have been shootings over there, but I couldn't find anything specific. So, is it true? Is it not true? I don't know.
Who knows?
I couldn't find anything specific. So... hard to say, but there's a lot of evidence supporting, I mean, there was people interviewed Latoya, the WYRK sorry, nope, wrong case. IndieStar.com interviewed Latoya Ammons and her family.
She's reading notes, guys.
I am reading notes. Sorry.
Your
pause.
audio didn't just die on you. She's reading notes. In the meantime, go subscribe if you're liking the podcast. We have merch. Click the link in the bio if you want to buy some merch. And don't forget to like and comment and let us know what other topics you want us to talk about on That Haunted podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Please do.
Mm-hmm. Take it away, Alex.
It's people can sit there and try to say that this woman was crazy, and that these kids were just performing, but when it comes down to it, police, news, Child Protective Services, and nurses were all witnesses to something they can't really explain, and are all now believers in the paranormal, and are terrified of what they witnessed, no less. So leave it up for you to decide, but if you ask me, I think the director did an amazing job of following the storyline and kind of making you have that some sort of emotional connection to the family or the actors that are playing the family before he gets to the haunting part, which is what I liked, because he tries to really get you into the point where people thought these people were crazy, and it's like you think these people are crazy talking about these experiences until it's you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the truth. So yeah, do you want to add anything to it, Shane? Maybe the Demon House documentary?
I want to talk about that fucking movie.
Yeah, okay.
I want to talk
Shane
about that.
was not a fan of the movie.
Well, you give your opinion on the movie first, and then I'll give mine.
So, I don't think... Okay, if I had to rate it from 1 to 10 kind of thing, I think I would probably keep it at a 5. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because did it follow the storyline well? Yes. Maybe a 4.5. Did it follow the storyline well? Yes. Was it produced decently? Yes. But could he have made it a little more traumatic and shown a little bit more of the paranormal phenomena? Yes. Like at one point, towards the end, Latoya, which her name is something else in the movie, but she's like, oh, I had to pull my son out of the closet. He was, like, chanting something in a different language. Why didn't they show that, though? You know what I'm saying? So there's certain things that were left out that really could have been put in there. I like that they showed a picture of Latoya and a picture of the actual house at the end.
Mm-hmm.
4.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's hella low.
4.5, 5 out of 10. But I don't think that it's terrible.
Here's what I'm thinking. I think you're right when they didn't show enough. Here's the thing. It's a 2-hour-long movie. That's pretty long for a movie, okay? It's like a Netflix original, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty long for a 2-hour movie. Very long time for a movie. They spent way too much time on building up random stuff that throughout the movie doesn't matter, and they condensed all the intense shit within like the last half hour.
Yeah,
not even half hour, like 15-20 minutes.
Remember how I said earlier they condensed a lot?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Like, yeah. Some of the little, like the mild story arcs, not mild, what do you call it? Side story things. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it just didn't matter to the whole story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All that small stuff that was going on. Like, okay, this is not a spoiler, but like when that kid was throwing rocks at them, I thought, like, why show that? There was no point in showing that.
I think it was just showing that they're going through hardship.
I feel like there's better ways to convey that than just having a kid get bullied one time for like 25
Agreed.
seconds of the movie. It just seemed way too condensed in the end, and then just like how like tropey the ending was with like becoming superhuman, I guess I'll say. If spoiler alert, okay? If you don't wanna hear the movie spoiled, then mute it, and yeah. But like how she like just gained the power of God and started speaking. I almost said Arabic, not Arabic, Latin.
No, it's called something. I can't think of what it's called.
It's Latin, right? Anyway, she speaks like some different language, and then the demon's gone. But the exorcist in the movie, she's dead. It's not even mentioned after the fact that she died. They don't even bring it up afterwards. There's just a dead bitch in her house.
Oh my god.
I did not like the ending to that movie of how they conveyed it. I'm gonna give that movie a solid, honestly. I'm gonna give it a 2. Don't deter my opinion from watching it. I'm very critical when it comes to horror movies.
Some people hated it and some people loved it, and it's very, like, you're either here or there with it, is what I'm noticing with the internet.
I don't know why it's number 1 on Netflix. I don't know if it's because all the people are, like, watching it.
I think so. I think it's just a popular talk right now.
It's a 2. It's a 2 in my book.
The other thing I can say about the real case and the real things that were happening, anybody that was in that home and did not receive some kind of blessing, truly suffered some sort of, like, physical ailment or physical symptom after leaving there. Like, Zach Bagans had his eyesight, like, he literally...
Oh, he became cross-eyed.
What is it called? But it was...
Stigmatism?
No, it was something... He ended up having to get specific prism glasses.
Yeah, he has stigmatism. That's what it was. I think. Maybe I'm just making up words.
No, it was something. No, because that's not painful. No, he had something severe happen to him. So the woman that just showed up there claiming to have lived in the 90s, Mika, after leaving there, her daughter tried to unalive herself.
Sewer slide.
And they actually brought that, they brought Mika and her daughter to Father Maganot, because he's still around, and he read exorcism rites, and they watched her daughter have a reaction to something leaving her body. At one point, while Zach was investigating, he had multiple people come to the scene to do different instrument testing and stuff like that done to see what kind of levels of... I'm not even sure. I can't even remember.
They did a bunch of tests at the house.
Because I can't even find it in my notes. Yeah, they wanted to make sure that, like, if they were investigating what was going to give off, like, EMF levels and EMF meter hits and stuff like that. And they were not finding anything... Like, they were trying to see, is there black mold or anything that would make people feel dizzy, euphoric, which black mold can make people feel very dizzy, very euphoric. And there was no high levels of anything random, but the guy that was doing the testing actually had organ failure after leaving the house.
A lot of people associated with Zach Bagans' documentary had something happen to them after filming, during filming, all that.
Yeah.
So that part's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Well, officers are afraid to go in the home. During the documentary, one officer says there's literally a 5-page report on that home. They were like, we're not going in there. There's a 5-page report on that. The CPS worker suffered scratches from a motorcycle accident. The second CPS worker. And she ended up breaking her hand. Just wild, weird things. And... both the movie, The Deliverance, and the documentary, both at the end say that activity still happens on the surrounding property, and on the property still, like, shit still gets reported. Both of them said that. Creepy. Mm-hmm. But leave it up for you guys to decide. Go ahead, go watch Demon House and The Deliverance.
Definitely watch Demon House. Deliverance, again, don't let my rating
Demon House is way better.
Persuade you. Watch the movie. Get your own opinion. Don't be influenced by me. And when you do, please come back and comment and let us know what you think. Yeah. We definitely want to hear your guys' opinions, and thank you for listening again. Yes, thank you. Every like on this podcast will make me feel a lot better.
He won't be sick anymore.
I'm fucking dying right now, actually. Okay, well, we're gonna go because I am death, destroyer of worlds. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know if you want us to talk about any other kind of horror movies based on true stories or anything else you want us to talk about. Leave a comment. Excuse me.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, on TikTok.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all
And we
that.
will see you guys later.
Yes, okay. I'm very sick. Bye.
Bye.